Hello and welcome to the Pages Pixels podcast, where we talk about new movies every week. I'm Rohan,
And I'm Kevin.
and today we're going to talk about new movie Companion. Why don't you tell them what this movie is about, Kevin?
Sure. Directed by Drew Hancock. This film is about a billionaire's death that sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. Before we get into major spoilers for the film, let's talk about the setup. Before going into this film, like what were you expecting once we started hearing like the monologue narration from the main character Iris?
So that's actually something I did not like um, at the beginning of the film. Now I know we're talking non spoilers, but this movie did the thing where it tells you what the ending is at the very beginning. So I'm going to spoil it and thus spoiling the ending. But hey, the movie spoils it first, which is I think the first line of the movie is two biggest moments of my life. Once when I met Josh, which is the Jack Quaid character, and they have a scene of them meeting in a grocery store, and he's acting like a little bit of a goofball, dropping all the oranges. And the second moment was when I killed him, and, and that's not something I wanted to know at the very beginning.
I mean, it's kind of
Especially
like a
because
class. Oh, sorry.
well, I mean, because I think if that happened in, let's say, the first act, I think it changes things. But yeah, it just felt a little bit like I didn't need to know that. I kind of wish that line wasn't there. But the scene, for the most part, worked for me.
I mean, I will say I think that they are pulling a trick from old movies. I don't know if you've ever seen Sunset Boulevard.
Hmm.
Spoiler for that movie. That opening also has a character death and narration about that death. I won't say who, but I feel like it doesn't really work as well here because, and I agree with you because I just think that there's a lot of buildup in the Sunset Boulevard at the beginning that kind of leads into this mystery that makes you want to know more. Whereas this one
Yeah.
kind of just, she just is kind of like, life's great. And this was my life before, and now that I've killed him, my life's even better. So it
Yep.
kind of just like tells you everything directly what you're supposed to feel, instead of leaving room for mystery. Like maybe, you know, if we had a bit more to chew on, either visually or um, dialogue wise, it could have landed well, but it didn't really work for me either.
Yeah. Especially because I really did not know what to expect going into this movie because I saw one trailer for it, and the trailer gave you, I mean, it gave you cool, really, really cool visuals. Um, but I had no idea what this movie was about from the trailer. Like, I could not give you a log line from the trailer. It had some, but I really, really liked that because I'm just like, when I saw the trailer, I was like, what is going on? Um, and it intrigued me without telling me anything. And then the fact that I went to watch the movie and then it tells me the ending at the very beginning did frustrate me a little bit.
Yeah, because like you're also expecting that the ending is going to deviate from like the beginning a little bit with what they tell you, because you're like that can't possibly be it. Um, and I do think for the most part it's pretty loyal to what it tells you at the beginning. I think maybe they were going for like a hashtag girl boss quote, like where it's like this is the day I killed him, because you kind of think back to like movies like Kill Bill when the title card drops, like you know the movie's about her killing Bill, but with Companion you kind of don't, you're not supposed to know what's gonna happen. So it's kind of a strange choice.
Right.
Um,
Oh.
there was one thing I wanted to mention in this film, is that commencement speaker for the New York Film Academy is in this film. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to give them a shout out. She plays
Yeah.
the
Her name
character
is
Kat.
Megan Suri. I like her. She's been in quite a few things now. The first place where I saw her, which and that's where she got really popular, was Never Have I Ever. But she was also recently in Not Searching, the sequel, Missing.
Hmm.
Yeah, she was in that one. Yeah, I like her quite a bit, and um I'm glad that she's being cast uh, in more stuff.
We might talk more about her character later, but personally, I will feel that while I was excited to see her, I felt like her character was lacking a lot of everything. I mean, it seemed like there was something going on with her and Jack Quaid's character, but it never really comes into fruition at any point. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I think she was good. That's actually something that I would say about most of the movie or most of the characters in this movie. I think I prefer the performances of the actors than I do of the writing of the actual characters.
hmm Yeah, I agree. Like, if you're coming here, like, if you like Jack Quaid, right? Either from The Boys or from, like, Scream, for example, you're gonna get more like Jack Quaid from Scream than you would Jack Quaid from The Boys. Just,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and he was good, but I had issues with I had issues with some of the character choices that he made. We can get into more specifics in our spoiler segment, but he makes a lot of decisions that just don't make sense, and I'm okay with the character making a stupid decision if it makes sense for that character to make a stupid decision. Where I have an issue is where it feels like the character is making a decision so the plot can exist.
No, you're right. It does feel like at many points that's what they're doing. Maybe they wrote themselves into a corner, or maybe this is more of like a just a lesson in like convenience because I do think that a lot of the times writers shortcut things in order to just get plot to happen. And so it may not necessarily been like it like is a suffer on the character's decision, but that could have also come in the form of like a world building thing or like a you know um, a, a technical element that another character has, like an object. Like this happens all the time. Like I'm not surprised to see it. I guess for most audiences, it's easy to overlook plot holes like that. But when you're writing and you have like so much structure in front of you, like us, and we went to like school for it, it's so easy to notice these things now that you're almost like we have this blessing and this curse of like recognizing these details.
Yeah,
With that, do you want to dive into spoilers?
let's do it.
So this girl's a robot.
Yep. Would not have known it from the trailer. Because the trailer has a couple of quick shot. It has a couple of jokey lines. There's a couple of quick shots of like people screaming, people running in the woods, and then it has the part where, um, she has her hand up and it's on fire. And that's when I watched this, and I was like, this is really interesting. I don't know, I expected something a little bit more supernatural because I'm like, why can't she move her arm? I expected him as in Jack Quaid's character Josh to have some kind of again to not be exactly human to have some supernatural ability. Um, but she ends up being a robot. Now I figured that out pretty quickly. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
I think it becomes obvious when he asks her what the weather's like.
hmm even some of her dialogue, just the way that she was, because she had that very, she was speaking in the "Hello, Josh. Oh my God, this lake house is beautiful." It did feel very robotic.
It did, and I mean like it's funny because like these are things like people would say, but like the way that she said them makes it kind of clear.
Yeah. Yep.
I will say I think I knew what this movie was doing before we watched, but like I wasn't 100% sure. So I thought there was a world where maybe they're gonna flip it around on its head. Maybe it's Jack Quaid that's the robot. But when I saw like the poster and she has no pupils and the fact it's called Companion, and I'm thinking, okay, they said there's that tweet that's like in the year 2025 you'll be sleeping with robots. Like that's this movie.
Yeah, I remember. That's all I could think of while watching this movie.
And just have like Jack Quaid and like her face like in the picture. Um, but yeah, like I kind of felt like that's the direction it was going. And I like the twist. It's kind of like it's kind of got like an Ex Machina vibe when it comes to like the way the android is like so perfectly resembles a human. And I
Yeah.
I like when movies take silly risks like this. I'm not sure if like this is the best use of this type of character an android who is like perfectly realistic. They make a bunch of sex jokes about her. They make a bunch of
Yep.
like, uh, you know, like how useful she is. Also like programming, like they have a phone app that you have to like have someone come and like install it. I think that's kind of funny. But yeah.
Yeah. I actually really love that whole flashback of when he's like, do you want to know how we really met? And then it's a cut to him receiving her and uh like the the technician is explaining exactly how to use her, how she works, and then it goes, they leave, and the first thing he does is have sex with her.
Hmm. Yeah, like I think that is a good time to actually bring up the character problems you were mentioning earlier about Jack Quaid because there's a lot of inconsistency in terms of what her use is. So to
Yeah,
explain first, the plan with the characters at this lake house is to use Iris to kill the billionaire who's like Sergey, and
Sergey, yeah, the most
then
stereotypical
take his
Russian name
money.
ever.
In the most stereotypical accent ever, and most stereotypical
Oh yeah,
la di da. Um,
yeah. The code for everything is Stalin's birthday.
oh yeah, too much like Russian stereotypes for my liking. Not that
Yeah,
that has ever bothered me before, but I think yeah, that's their plan. They want to steal his money, and they also have another android with them, um, in the form of two characters who they appear as a gay couple, but one of them is an android as well.
yeah. It's yeah, the human is played by Harvey Guillen. I apologize if I say that name wrong. But he plays Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows. So I will always love him for that. He plays Eli in this, and then there's Patrick, played by Lucas Cage. Lucas Cage, who I've been seeing pop up in
Hmm.
a lot of stuff. Um, he was in
Yeah,
The White Lotus. Yeah,
he was in Smile
he was in
2 and
Fargo. Yep.
How to Blow Up a Pipeline. He was really annoying in that movie. I'm telling you,
No,
I like that movie,
I
but
haven't seen it, but
him and like Forrest Goodluck were really annoying. I can't put my finger on it. Um,
yeah, but he's the one who plays another robot. Um, and he does a decent enough job. Uh, he has a lot to work with because I think at the beginning he thinks he's human, and then he learns that he's a robot, and he actually pieces it together himself, which I found very interesting, and it actually I saw it coming with him also,
mhm.
because just like what's the lead's name? I know Sophie
Jack
Thatcher is the actress,
Sophie Thatcher. Oh, Iris.
but Iris, just like Iris. There he's the only other one that has the story about how they met. Um, and then at the beginning, he's the one who does all the cooking. So I was like, okay. The moment that she was revealed as a robot, I was like, okay, there's got to be more than one. Probably gonna be him because of the story and the cooking.
Yeah, like I think this film really thinks I will start talking more positively about this movie later, but I do think this movie has like a syndrome of like they think they're really clever and they're just not. Like 'cause it's very foreseeable. Or maybe they made a fun movie and they knew people would figure it out. I don't know, but
there are certain things that I could see coming, like her being a robot, him being a robot. But then there are moments where I thought there was like a lot of cleverness, um, like the fact that she has his phone and they establish that you can control the voice and the car is voice activated. So when he is trying to break into the car, she's playing around with her voice to see if she can mimic it. I thought that was
hmm.
really clever. And then she can't tell a lie, but if she speaks German,
Yeah.
then she can get away with telling the truth to the police officer.
Yeah, there's definitely moments of like brilliance in this, and I do think it comes down to like a really well established like understanding of how an android could work in the modern day, using a
Yeah,
phone, using other devices. Like there are a lot of techie things in this movie, and if you're into
right.
that, you'll definitely enjoy it. But again, going back to Jack Quaid's character, what particularly stood out to you about the character inconsistencies? I think more so it was motivational for me that didn't work.
Yeah, the stuff that kind of, and for the most part, I think he works as a villain. I think Jack Quaid's performance. I mean, you said it's the same as um, was it Richie Scream?
Hmm.
Yeah, you said it's the same performance he's doing as Richie in Scream. I agree with that. But again, I mean, he did it well at Scream. He does it well here, so I'm not really complaining about that. My issue with him is there were times where it really, that in the beginning, the movie tries to make you believe that he actually really does love Iris, um, because he does concoct this plan for Iris to kill Sergei and all that. But then when they're calling the service technicians to kind of reboot her, and you know inform the police. Before doing that, he does wake her up and says she deserves an explanation, and he explains that she is a robot, and that's kind of what kicks this whole movie into gear. I mean, if we talk about film with opening image, inciting incident, break into Act Two, that would be your that would be when Act Two starts, in my opinion. But then it really felt like he like towards later in the movie, it really felt like he doesn't view her as an actual girlfriend. He just like the movie makes you believe. The movie kind of later establishes that no, he never loved her. He never viewed her as anything more than like a high tech sex doll. But then why even do the why say that she deserves an explanation? And I think sometimes you can character contradictions are interesting, but in this case, it really just felt like we needed that to happen so that way the plot can kick into gear. Because I don't get why he can't just factory reboot it right then and there and it's done. Because if you factory reboot, your mod is also gone. So the mod that he did with her would also be disappear, and then they just can carry on with the original plan. Tortures her at the end. It's all of that stuff. It just didn't make sense. And then there was some other stuff where, for example, she steals his phone, and that's how he controls her. Why can't he just be like, "Hey, cat, give me your phone. I'm gonna log into my account real quick so I can control her from here." Um, is it tied to one phone only? You would think it's some kind of account.
Yeah, unless he's. It would be funny. There was like a deleted scene where he like tried to do that, but he couldn't remember his password. I agree with you. I think if I had to play devil's advocate regarding the motivations, I think there is a world where maybe he was lying to his friends about how he really felt about Iris. Maybe he really did have some form of connection with her because this guy doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
This guy doesn't have really anything going on. Um, and him doing that was a genuine attempt to kind of reconcile with the fact that, this is really all he's got. But again,
yep,
this is like a loose interpretation, and I agree that like, and I can understand like, oh, she's trying to get away from him and attacking him. That would drive him to the point of being insane and wanting to torture her. But what doesn't work is all the stuff in between, where it seems like there is an established flirtatiousness between him and Kat that doesn't
yeah,
happen, and because of that, I think that kind of negates my argument because I just think it's like if she really mattered that much, then why does it seem like he has this thing going on with Kat? It just kind of seems like
right.
there's a lot of confusion there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, it just felt see, I didn't buy the wanting to torture her. I buy that if she is doing all that stuff to him, then he might want to kill her. But I think when he does stuff like stick your hand in the fire and just lets it burn, it really just feels at that point it really just feels like he doesn't view her as an individual and only views her as a machine. That was my issue.
Also, torturing her literally doesn't matter if she can't feel anything, so why are you even having her do it anyway? I think the best part of this movie is the humor. I think that it is a really funny movie. Um,
I agree.
you know, for all of the things that don't work in terms of the plot, um, most of the jokes land. Like they're not, something. A lot of the time, I'll watch a comedy in a theater, and like usually I end up rolling my eyes a lot. But this one is really funny. Um, whether it's like Jack Quaid's like quips, like usually quippy humor doesn't work, but his is really good. And then the gay couple is really funny. I think
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, specifically the scene where they have the meet cute at the Halloween party, and then later when whenever Jack Quaid's character changes, like gets the android to fall in love with him, they have the recreation of the memory with Jack Quaid dancing.
I love that scene. That was hilarious. Oh
I especially think the music choice of that was just like I don't know what song it was, but it was just such a funny like like thing to add there. It
yeah.
really worked.
I I loved that they redid the whole scene. It wasn't like a shortened version. They were like, no, we're gonna show you that entire scene again, but now with Jack Quaid.
Yeah, they didn't cut it short. They just redid it. Also, I do think her speaking German was a really fun highlight. That scene with the cop
Yeah.
was like, it was smart, but like you also got to see, I don't know. I thought it was a really well done scene just from the cop's reaction to her speaking German. Like it felt like a realistic interaction. Like I don't know what to do here. Like I think she understands what's happening, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that might have actually been my favorite scene of the movie. Because it was really funny. I think as you said, I think the movie the humor works better than the scares. And I mentioned earlier like why I thought it was clever.
Oh, I also like that Kat's character took a Xanax because she was handed it to her, but the plan was to not have the Xanax. She was just supposed to pretend, but she was like, "If you give me a Xanax, I'm gonna take it." Like that is a mood.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think the actors, I think everyone's comedic timing works.
I agree. I think it really worked well. I thought the emotional beats were like even despite the plot kind of nudging them there, they did work well. I think it's just the story that kind of just makes it I don't know. It's too easy to like think about these things and not have them like affect your opinion on the movie.
Right.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think we can move into our ratings.
Sure. All right. So as a reminder, or just in case you're new, the way we rate things here on the Pages to Pixels podcast is on the script coverage scale. There's pass when we think the movie is not so good, consider when we think it's decent, and recommend when we think it's a great film. As a reminder, this is not an actual recommendation, it's just a score. So, with that, how would you rate Companion?
I'm just going to give it a consider. Uh, I think that the film is for me. It's a film that I did enjoy watching. I laughed throughout it. I was entertained by the gore. I was entertained by the technology stuff. Uh, I don't think it's going to be on my best of list at the end of the year, but I think it's a solid movie. And yeah, I mean, I had a good time.
Yeah, I am basically there with you. It's also a consider for me, maybe a strong consider. I thought the movie was a lot of fun. It's humor is great. The Some of the actions are great. Some of the stuff is clever, although they also have a lot of moments where I feel um, they are conveniences. That does hold it back from being a recommend. Uh, but overall, it's a great movie. Probably not going to end up in my best of the year, but I definitely had a lot of fun watching it.
What movie would you recommend to that are some what movie would you recommend that is very similar to Companion?
I will actually recommend not a movie, but a show that's based off a movie. Uh, it's Westworld on HBO. Specifically, I think the first two seasons. I think after season three, it does take a bit of a dip, but you can honestly watch the first season. Just pretend it's a limited series. Um,
Mhm.
it's great. It explores similar concepts and themes, and I think it does it a little bit better. There is more. I feel like the exploration of um, robots and are they human, and if we hurt them, are we being immoral or not? I feel like it's more interesting in that show than it was in this movie. Not that there was anything wrong with what this movie did with that regard. Uh, but yeah, Westworld, I think it's great.
I I really want to check out Westworld, both the show and the original film. I have not been able to do that.
Hmm.
And with all this talk about Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, it does kind of tie back to that because
Michael Crichton, yeah.
yeah, Michael Crichton, really cool stuff from him. I'm hoping to see that soon. I okay. I have a I have a hard time recommending things because often I pick something that no one's heard of. So I want to do two. I want to cheat. I'm gonna recommend something that everyone knows, and then something that people don't know. Because I always feel like I come on here and I sound like a crazy person for recommending some 1950s Japanese movie. But so first I'm going to recommend Get Out because I think the premise of Get Out is a couple, which is a black guy and a white woman. They end up going to her parents' house for like a weekend retreat, and things are not as they seem. Uh, it's almost everyone's seen it, and they know that there's like a lot of other stuff going on. But that film is also it kind of toes the line of comedy thriller with a lot of different characters that are in on a certain plot surrounding the main character, which is what I think is very similar to Companion.
Yep.
The other one I'm going to recommend is from it's called I'm a Cyborg, but That's Okay. It's directed by Park Chan Wook, who directed The Handmaiden and um, Old Boy. And this
Yep.
film's it's like a rom com about a girl who thinks that she's a cyborg. She may or may not be, but you have to watch the movie to find
Oh,
out.
that's cool.
Hmm.
I'll definitely check that out because I love The Handmaiden, and Old Boy.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
if you definitely
he
if you
also
like
did
those
Decision
movies,
to
you'll like
Leave,
this.
right?
He did make the decision to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love it as much as you did, but the filmmaking of it is spectacular. So
Yeah, he is really he's probably in my top 10 modern directors. I'm looking forward to his next stuff. I have not seen his show with Florence Pugh yet though, so I don't know how good that is.
I did not know. Is that the Sympathizer or is that
That's not the
a
Sympathizer. That's a
different one?
different thing. This one's called like the Little Drummer Girl.
Oh, okay. I did not. Okay, I gotta check it out then.
What else have you been watching?
Um, so I know I did sports last week. I gotta mention it again though, because craziness in the NBA. I've been watching my Twitter feed with the NBA trade deadline. Luka Doncic to the Lakers came out of nowhere. Everyone thought it was a joke. Actually, funny story. The reporter who reported Shams Charania. When he got the news from the teams that it's official, he thought his phone was hacked. Uh, and then when he reported it, everyone thought he was hacked. Uh, um, but it's real, and God, it's crazy. Other than that, I have been watching Dune Prophecy. Uh, it's the Dune show. It's a prequel to the Dune movies. It's more about the sisterhood. I like it quite a bit. I'm midway through. It's pretty interesting. It reminds me a little bit more of stuff like it feels a little bit more like House of the Dragon than it does like the Dune movies, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, I definitely want to check out Prophecies. I actually wasn't aware it was out yet. I don't know if the marketing has been very good for that then. Because I'm also on Twitter. I'm not seeing Lakers updates, but I am seeing film updates.
Yeah, yeah, it's out,
Uh,
and I want to say it's been out.
really? Okay. Well, I've just missed this
Yeah.
memo then. Yeah. Well, speaking of sports, I just watched Whip It, the Drew Barrymore roller derby movie that stars Elliot Page. I watched it with friends. I thought it was a pretty sweet movie. It's just kind of like a coming of age sports movie. um, where Elliot Page's character um, really like it's like falls in love with roller derby, even though her family wants like the characters, her family wants to wants her to do other things. It kind of reminded me of my thesis script, regeneration, like at times. So I was like, oh, there's like a lot of things in it. But the one thing that was even more similar was I had a mom character named Marcia, and the character who plays Elliot Page's mom is Marcia Gay Harden. And I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a pretty good film. I recommend it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
All right. Well, with that, we come to an end uh, of another episode of the Pages to Pixels podcast. Uh, we'll be back next week with another video. My name is Kevin,
And I'm Rowan.
and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.